All right, everybody, I'm checking out this new thing. I'm gonna call it Car Talk. It's something I've been thinking about doing, just to play with this camera here, see if it's a little bit of fun. I'm gonna talk about some things that happened this weekend. Valley versus Belen football. It's the very first strike of the NMAA bylaw, and it's already been quite a doozy. By the third quarter, Valley was up on Belen and about 3 touchdowns. And then it all happened and it went down. Valley, I guess, had a little hard hit at the sideline there. And so Belen took offense to that, and the whole team went all the way across the field. And they had themselves, I guess, a rumble. Some people have described it in melee or ugly, very ugly fight that went down there, and so that's very disappointing. And so it looks as though they're going to be the first ones to get the first strike, both of them. So they'll forfeit their games against Deming and Los Lunas, respectively. So my question is Deming and Los Lunas, which had nothing to do with this and weren't involved in all this. My question now is, will they be able to, so to speak, will they get a W at least? At least give them a W. Don't just forfeit the game, but give them a W. Just say 3 points. Los Lunas beat Belen by 3 points or a touchdown or something like that, and let's move on with life. That's kind of how I see it and how I look at it. I still think the bylaw is going to have a few hiccups and some issues that are going to have to be worked out, but that's really kind of highly unfortunate as to what happened there. Now, I'm going to talk about, I got to talk about New Mexico Preps and its recent rankings. And I'm going to tell you right now, I disagree with a lot of it, but I understand they got to do it and that sort of thing. But when you go on to do rankings like that, you need some gas money. And what I mean by that is you need to be able to drive all over the state and be able to see all these players play. I see some stuff there. It just looks more like the Metro rankings than anything. And it's just, it can get kind of frustrating, especially for those players that are outside the metro area of Albuquerque. That can be really frustrating, and I totally understand why they feel the way they do and why you hear the words northern bias, because this is the kind of stuff that goes on. If you're going to do rankings, like I said, you need to get some gas money. I mean, I saw one player that's from a southern New Mexico community, who averaged 18 points a game last year, and he is ranked behind several players who I frankly have never heard of. I mean, let's be honest, this is a player that scored 18 points a game last year, and he's low ranked, and you see a lot of that, and it's very it can be very like, oh my gosh, you got to get some gas money. I'm gonna keep saying it. You got to get some gas money, and you got to get out and see these players, and you got to go and make sure that you get as many people as possible, especially if you're going to rank these 3 classes, which they do. You're talking about close to 300 kids, and you're going to try to do all that. Well, you're going to have to get some gas money, bottom line. And that's just me. I just think it's poorly done. I'm not trying to slam them or anything, but I mean, honestly, people take the Prep Hoops ranking seriously. They get on Twitter and they say, oh, I'm proud to be ranked this and this, that. Hey, that's great, and it's appreciative, and it's great that we have it. I'm not like bashing it. I'm just bashing the process, okay? I'm bashing the process because if you're going to do it, if you're going to work at Prep Hoops, if you're going to be a scout, you got to get out there. You got to get out there. You got to get out of the metro. You got to go to places like Las Cruces, Farmington, Santa Fe, Clovis, Raton if you need to, Los Lunas, all these places. You got to put some money in the gas tank, and you got to get out there and drive, and you got to go get up in the morning, get hotel rooms, stuff like that, just to see all the players play. You just can't rely on just this person, what this person said or that person. And you got to find a better process, because sometimes you're only going to see a player once or twice. So you got to be able to look for all those characteristics that you need in order to rank them or get an idea of what kind of player they are. You've got to do all of that, and it's a lot of work. It's a ton of work. Believe me, it is. That's why I don't do it. I don't touch it, because there's a lot of players out there that simply have not made a name for themselves yet, and there's just simply not much footage, or they just don't go to these events and things like that. And so you have to do a lot of groundwork. That's the bottom line with it, and it's frustrating to see, these rankings like this. I'll give you some examples of last year. Michael Mackey, who may very well have been the second best player in the state of New Mexico. I'm going to say it. I think Jalen Holland's a little bit better. He scored 51 points. That's 9th all-time at Hobbs High School, which has the 6th winningest all-time head coach in high school basketball history. Ralph Tasker, who has passed away about a decade or two ago. Ralph Tasker he's 6th all-time, okay? This is a very storied program. And here Michael Mackey scores 51 points. And he also had a game of 43 and 41. I mean, he had a huge year. And it got him to New Mexico Junior College, which I think and I believe that if he does well there, it'll lead him to D1. Okay? We'll see him in a D1 roster if he does well there at New Mexico JC. That's what I'm seeing. But he was low ranked on Prep Hoops. He was just low ranked behind all the Metro players. And I'll say this: if you put Michael Mackey in the Metro, he would have blown up. Everybody would have talked about him all day long, and he would have been ranked a lot higher. That's just the bottom line. And you could say the same for a guy like Alex Afaro, who signed with Eastern New Mexico, who's going to play for them, a D2 school out of Deming, average double figures. He was very low ranked also. And that's where the problem is there's so much attention to the Metro Albuquerque area that a lot of these schools from Farmington all the way down the Cruces, Deming, of course, Hobbs, all these places are getting ignored, or they're getting very low ranked. And it's like I said, that player that averaged 18 points a game last year, I mean, he's low ranked in this one. And so it's just kind of befuddling to me why that is. Another thing that's kind of frustrating to me about this Prep Hoops ranking is you got 2 guys at ABC Prep who just came to ABC Prep. Now, let me give a disclosure real quick. I'm not bagging ABC Prep or anything on this, so calm down. All I'm saying is you got 2 guys that are ranked in the top 5 in class 24, and they haven't even played a game or anything in New Mexico whatsoever. They just showed up, okay? And you got them ranked that high already? Okay, fine. I get it if it was LeBron his senior year of high school, fine, and it was a top 100 ESPN recruit or something that moved to the state. I could understand you ranking somebody that high without ever playing a game in the state or competing against New Mexico kids. I could understand that. But that's not the case here. And so it's kind of befuddling. It makes me wonder if you're just taking the opinions of somebody else, if you've actually seen these players play. Because I haven't seen them play either. And so I'm just really curious about all that. And I think it's a little bit unfair to those who are here and who have played here and who are going to play here next year. That's another issue of mine. Let them earn it. I mean, you guys do this ranking 3 times a year. Let these 2 guys earn it, and maybe they are top 5. Who knows? Maybe they don't even play here. Maybe they move on somewhere else. Who knows? That's what I'm getting at. Don't just throw them in there, because then you push guys that have already earned it out of the top 5 that probably deserve to be there. That's the truth right there, as far as I see it. You just got to do a better job, and maybe I need to just start doing rankings and compile a group of scouts all over the state and call some guys and ask them to come together and see what we can do, because this has got to be a little bit better than what it is. I mean, another example is there was a guy that played high school football here in New Mexico who ended up on the basketball ranking of all things, and he never played 1 single second of high school basketball, and he ended up on the Prep Hoop rankings. That's what I'm getting at. Need to get out of the metro, and I'll give you another theory to think about here. If you take one of these kids in the metro that's highly ranked and you put him down in let's say Carlsbad or something, he probably would be lower ranked. That's what I would suspect right away, simply because you guys haven't seen him, or you got to see him a gazillion times before you seem to be convinced that he's a good player or something. It's like there's a little there's like a curse or something going on with players outside the metro with you guys, it seems like. I mean, that's what I'm seeing. You're ranking guys in positions, and they don't even play those positions and things like that. It's just it takes work. That's the bottom line. You got to get some gas money, and you gotta look at all the streams that are available out there, and you gotta be organized. This is not easy whatsoever, and that's one reason why I don't do it, because I don't think you can realistically have one person do it without a network of reliable people behind it. And I think it should be done with a group or something like that. But that's kind of how I see it. And, as we go on further, to give you all advice as far as rankings are concerned, take it for what it is, and use it for motivation or whatever, or ignore it. I only look at it just to update my list, just to see if I've missed anybody. That's the only reason. I don't really actually pay attention to it. I do a preseason ranking of top 5, okay? Top 5 players. And this year might be a tad controversial. I'm still kind of going back and forth on a few players. And at the end of the season, I always do a top 10. I know that's always controversial. But if you look at it, it's always different than everybody else because, well, I put gas in the tank and I drive everywhere. I mean, that's the bottom line with all of that. Now, so we got the season coming. Get ready for it. Looks like La Cueva. Looks like Organ Mountain. I'm gonna contact some people and go down to El Paso possibly and see some of these southern schools this coming week. See what's kicking over there and see what's going on. And the West Coast Elite's coming. I'm sure it's coming because it has the last 2 years. So if it is, sign up for that. Everybody sign up for that. Invade that gym, fill it up, do what you got to do, get there and ball out. So that's another event before we kick off the season, in December, and before we get going on the season. So definitely ball out, get ready, and let's have a good season. Hope you like this car talk. I'm cruising down Route 66, and again, just to recap, they should give W's to Los Lunas and Deming because it's not their fault that 2 teams got a strike. If they have, great. If they haven't, I haven't heard anything since I made this video. So if they have, great. And just work on those rankings. Set up something solid. Set up something solid that we can hang our hat on. And that's all I'm saying. So I will talk to you guys on the next podcast. It's coming up in a week or so. I'm waiting on some things. Going to talk about GH and all that, who had left New Mexico State, is now at Mineral Area College. And I'm going to talk about a few other things. And so I think it's going to be a fire show, because I'm still gathering all the evidence and everything else. And hope to bring a good show for you on episode 26 of New Mexico is a Basketball State. Check it out. Check episode 25 out, 24. That's a good summer preview. So we'll talk to you later. This is my first edition of Car Talk. So hopefully, if you like it, great. Hit that like and share and subscribe button. We'll talk to you later. Have a good night.